Let's talk about San Andreas. We're going to play you a clip from the film, first of all, where Ray is played by Dwayne Johnson. Here he is trying a rather daring helicopter rescue.
Jovi, I'm coming down. Harrison, you're flying. Marcus, rig me a rope. Hand it over.
Take it over.
You ready to cut?
Roger that.
Hooked up. Out the door. Ray's clear. Natalie, don't you worry. I'm gonna get you out of here. This thing isn't gonna hold.
I think that gives you a pretty good indication of the movie. That's like the first 5 minutes. Dwayne Johnson, hello, good afternoon.
Hey, thanks for having me on, boys. I appreciate it.
That's like an opening sequence. That's like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That's the first 5 minutes of the movie, and it is relentless, and that is pretty much the rest of the ride. Once you go, you go.
Absolutely. Now, it's great to have you on the program again. Now, you won't remember this, but you came on the show many years ago, and you came into our studio down at Westminster, and you walked through the offices full of political journalists who are used to seeing various political types wandering in. And then they looked up as you walked in, and then the double takes as you walked along the row of desks was something to behold. And I have to say, these are people who spend their lives with prime ministers and foreign secretaries, but seeing you in their offices was the most exciting thing that had happened to them for a long time.
Well, they probably were thinking, oh, Jesus, he is much better looking in person than we thought.
You think that's absolutely what they were thinking?
It's absolutely what they were thinking.
Anyway, listen, here's the thing. Halfway through San Andreas, most dads are going to be thinking this. Okay, I can't skydive, I can't parachute, I can't drive a boat, I can't dive, I can't fly a helicopter. Never mind being ordained and wrestling. I am, next to Dwayne Johnson, I am insignificant. That's what you're making us feel, Dwayne.
I'm so sorry, but I can tell you from the bottom of my heart is I wish I had an inkling of what this character can do, by the way.
Well, tell us about him and just give us the outline for San Andreas.
Sure. I play a first responder. He's he's chief helicopter pilot from search and rescue for the Los Angeles Fire Department. And he's a very proficient guy at what he does, but like a lot of us, right when we meet him, he's struggling and he has flaws and he's getting ready to get a divorce and he's struggling with the relationship with his daughter. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to get a divorce, like a lot of guys out there, and I know what it's like to want great relationships with your kids, like a lot of guys out there too. And so that's the hero that we meet in the first, again, 5 minutes of the movie. And then the earthquake hits, and it's not an earthquake. It is the largest earthquake of all time, ever on record, hitting the state of California and it traveling up the state, and then mass destruction and the effects of that happen.
So, just a word on your first responder. So you do search and rescue. That's what you work. You work for Los Angeles Fire Department. Just tell us a bit about the training that you had to do, because I think I'm right in saying that when we see you jumping out of helicopters, that's you jumping out of helicopters.
Yeah, there was a tremendous amount of research and training with first responders, LAFD, first responders in Australia, where we shot a lot of the movie too as well. So the thing about these first responders, wherever you're at around the world, and whatever culture they represent, it's the same thing. Technically, yes, they're proficient, but the psychology of going into, running into, flying into chaos and danger when all of us are running away from it, that's a whole other level of psychology. So I got to tell you guys, this role was life-changing for me, because it really it gave me an opportunity to really portray a real guy and real guys who I was able to spend a lot of time with. Because in the past I've been able to play some really fun characters, big characters who are pretty good at what they do, for example, like in the Fast and Furious franchise. But with this and in San Andreas, very, very special individual, like all these first responders are.
And that's always the challenge in these big, huge blockbuster disaster movies, is to keep it personal, so that we see this massive level of extraordinary destruction, and obviously that's a terrible thing, but it's you that we care about, and it's your family that we care about, and that the intimate stuff is is sort of more important.
It is. That's a great point. We went into this into the movie thinking that we had a shot, like we were taking a crack at this, because if you get it right, then you have a shot at creating a movie that is epic for the fans and they'll love it. But you also have a shot at creating a movie that could stand the test of time, like some of the disaster films of the past, whether it had been Towering Inferno, Titanic, movies like that. And it was one of those things for us. When we read the script, we automatically knew, this is a great opportunity to not only create something that was epic in scale and spectacle because it's visual effects and it's massive. It's the world's largest earthquake. It's a massive tsunami that wipes out all of San Francisco as well. So you have that spectacle. But to your point, if we could create characters that people cared about, then there was this saying that our director, Brad Payton, had, and it became our mantra every day on set, which was, the spectacle is going to bring the audiences to the theater. The characters, if we create them right, where you care and they're about family, is going to keep them there.
Are you of the right generation to remember the 1970s film Earthquake, which was famously released in something which was then called Sensurround? We now know it as simply a loud bass noise that comes with absolutely every movie. But Sensurround was the big... Do you remember Earthquake coming out?
I do, yes. I think it came out in 1974.
It did.
And yes, it was like... it was Earthquake, and so that was the last Earthquake movie, which was in 1974, and it's a great reminder of how difficult good disaster movies are to make, because that was, I don't know, 3 decades ago or something like that. So look, we use that movie, by the way, as one of our models, and we hopefully wanted to raise the bar with our movie.
I don't know whether you know, Dwayne, but we don't kind of have earthquakes in this country. But yesterday, well, actually, at 3 o'clock this morning, there was a small earthquake, round about sort of 4 on the Richter scale.
Right?
Yes, felt in Kent and Essex and in outer London. And, there was no damage and no one got hurt. But this is extraordinary promotion for you. Was this just a stunt for the movie that you somehow were able to arrange a small earthquake off England?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know some people in high places, and we heard the news, and I've been jet lagged, so I haven't been able to sleep at night. But I got the news. We started getting text messages in the middle of the night when it happened, and your heart skips a beat, because first of all, we're all glad to hear that it seems like everybody was okay with that. Yeah, but so. The ideology and the notion of earthquakes has been like with me and in my bones for almost 2.5 years now after we agreed to do the movie. So between the earthquake that took place outside of Kent, Nepal, it makes us pause and realize of just how powerful Mother Nature is, because we coexist with Mother Nature, and there's nothing we could do about it, which in the wake of what happened in Kent and in the wake of what happened in Nepal, I'm really glad that in our movie, at least, and in our way of entertainment, we highly respected Mother Nature and her wrath. That's why in our movie there's not a lot of laughs. There's moments where you catch your breath and levity, but when she hits hard.
Why do you think disaster movies have been so enduringly popular? You look back to the history of cinema, go back to biblical epics. There's San Francisco in 1936. There's the whole Irwin Allen wave, late 60s, early 1970s. Why is it that we want to go to the cinema to see this sort of stuff?
You know what? I think it's because it allows the audience and it allows all of us to experience a natural disaster on an epic scale, in a big spectacle, experience it on so many different levels, so many different senses, and then not actually have to go through it, but just live vicariously through these characters and ultimately tap into whether we have a fear, whether we have an adrenaline rush about it. But I do believe that, and what we have found now that we've been testing the movie basically all around the world, is that audiences just, I think, enjoy experiencing it on that level. Oh, and also, too, it's that crazy thing where we all know it could really happen. And I think in that, it's that thing, wow, this can happen. It's real. It's Mother Nature. They experience it. They don't have to physically go through it. And then they are able to walk out of the theater. And hopefully they would have enjoyed the movie. And then also have that great dialogue, which is, I wonder what would you do? How would you respond? How would you react?
And what are you in next, Dwayne? Is it going to be another of the Journey movies? And there's Fast and Furious 8 apparently, which is coming down the line.
Yeah, we have that coming down the pike. I mean, that's still a ways away. Fast and Furious 8 is still a ways away. I mean, there's still the creative to get into. There's still the well, you got to write the script. There's still that. And I have Ballers coming out next, which is an HBO series. Which will be out in June, and currently I'm shooting an action comedy with Kevin Hart, which should be very, very funny. We're excited about that.
Dwayne, we appreciate your time with us today. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.